Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Our first story is a master class in handling entitled hotel guests. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. I demand compensation for my troubles. A few years ago, I was the front office manager of a popular hotel brand in my town. We had some unfortunate circumstances within our rooms that led to many valid complaints with very little we could do to rectify the situation due to budgets and brand standards. I did the best I could with what I had and was known for being not giving in to rude people and their demands. One day, a gentleman and his wife checked in and weren't overly rude at first, but weren't particularly friendly either. The wife handled the check-in process. After they went and got their room set up and I watched them leave, they come back towards the end of my shift about 10 p.m. and go up to the room. Within 5 minutes, the husband is standing angrily at my desk. I mentally prepare myself and step out of the back office. Husband: we turned the heat up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit and our room is only 75. This is outrageous. We're going to freeze tonight. Me, internally wondering where the F it is acceptable to sleep in a 90-degree room in the States. I do apologize, sir. Unfortunately, our individual thermostats will not go above 75 degrees. You can set them higher, but the system will not allow for the temperature to rise that high. I see you have our King Suite, which allows enough room for a space heater. Would you like me to bring you one? Husband: a space heater? Are you kidding me? I want my heat to go up to the temperature I set it to and nothing else. I won't be sleeping with a space heater, and I will be sleeping in a 90-degree room. Me: again, sir, I do apologize, but that isn't an accommodation I can provide. I have some extra blankets I can deliver to your room with or without the space heater to help keep you comfortable. Husband: not acceptable. I can't believe you won't give me what I want. Call maintenance. Me: I cannot do that, sir. It's almost 10:30 p.m. and we're only authorized to call maintenance after hours for emergencies. Husband: this is an emergency. I want your manager and maintenance man here now. Me: I'm the manager on duty, and I will not be calling anyone else to come into the hotel tonight. I've offered the solutions available to you. Would you like to take advantage of the blankets or space heater tonight? Husband: no, I demand compensation for my troubles. I will not be able to sleep tonight, and my wife will not be happy. What are you going to do for me? Me: of course, I understand. I'm happy to offer you 250 bonus points for your stay if you are interested in skipping housekeeping tomorrow. What do you think? Husband: fine. What else? Me: additionally, I can let the breakfast attendant know to extend your room complimentary breakfast for the remainder of your stay. Husband: it's about time you did something useful. Thanks for wasting my time. Walks back to room. The malicious part? Well, you see, his wife had already signed up to skip housekeeping for those extra points during check-in. He wasn't paying attention when she did that. I also work for a chain that breakfast is always complimentary. I compensated his troubles with rewards he was already entitled to, and he was none the wiser. His wife left a 4-star review, and we had no complaints for the rest of their stay. I did have to make sure housekeeping turned the thermostat back down after they left, though. I bet he knew the thermostat wouldn't go that high. Didn't really want to sleep in a 90-degree room, but was trying to find some way to complain and get perks for it. And our second story. Moldy cheese, stale complaints, and a refund 2 months too late. For 10 years before I joined the military, I worked at a family-owned and operated market in the Midwest. We specialized mainly in fresh produce and deli meats and cheeses, but we carried everything from bulk candy to flowers. I started working there as a cashier when I was in college and eventually worked my way up to store manager. I'd previously worked for a national grocery chain for 3 years, so after being lost in the corporate customers always right environment, working for a small mom-and-pop type outfit was refreshing. I tried to be the type of manager who would look out for my people and give them the benefit of the doubt on most cases when customers complained. At this point, I was almost finished working at this store. I'd already enlisted in the Navy and was basically just waiting to go to boot camp. I'd worked in just about every store position in my 7 years working retail by now, and of course I thought I'd seen everything. It was still early in the day, and I was working behind the deli counter, a department that I had worked in at the national chain as well as at this place. so I was considered the resident expert after all those years. A gentleman came into the deli, which was separated from the rest of the store in its own room, and walked up to the counter. I asked in my cheeriest retail voice, "Good morning, sir. What can I do for you?" "Well, I bought this cheese here, and it's extremely moldy." "Okay, can I take a look?" He handed me one of our deli bags with a small chunk of cheese inside that was indeed moldy. Despite what people think, deli meat and cheese will not last forever in the back of your fridge. I can't tell you how many times people had come in and wanted a refund on something that went bad. Everything we sold at the deli counter was dated with the date that it was sold, which made it very clear exactly how old the product was. We had a policy which we gave refunds only on things that went bad before 6 days or less. I held this bag in my hand, and having spent so much time in the deli, my hand could almost be considered a human scale. This cheese was nowhere near the 1 pound that was indicated on the original label. I tossed it up on the scale, and it weighed just 1/4 of a pound. I could imagine what was happening here. He bought the cheese, ate most of it, forgot about it, and found it later, already gone bad. I looked at the date, July 20th. It was September. "Sir, you bought this 2 months ago, and you've already eaten most of it." "I'm sorry, but I really can't do anything for you." "Are you serious?" "Yes, sir, I'm sorry." I handed the bag back to him. He was pissed. He turned around and stormed out of the deli. I knew exactly what was about to happen. My flair should give you a clue. I could see him at the front counter talking to one of the many teenage girls that we had working there. One of them walked out and came up to the deli counter. "There's a guy out here that wants to see the manager." I loved this part. The look on his face when he saw me coming out to meet him was priceless. "You're the manager?" "Yes, sir," I answered, again in my cheeriest retail voice. "So you aren't going to give me a refund?" "No, I'm not. I can't give you your money back on a piece of cheese that you bought back in July." He was at a loss for words. It's like he was so amazed that I wasn't kissing his feet that he couldn't speak at all. He looked at me, looked down at the cheese, looked back at me, and threw the chunk of cheese at me. It bounced off my chest and hit the floor. He turned around and stormed out of the store. "Have a nice day, sir." Whenever something like this happened, I always would tell my boss, the owner, just so that he wasn't blindsided when the person would call and complain later. I went into the office and told him what had happened, how I refused to refund him, and how he threw the cheese at me. "Are you effing kidding me?" My boss treated his employees like his own kids, and I could tell he was pissed that this customer did something like that to one of us. "If that effort comes in here again, come let me know, please." Of course, he never did. He probably went back to shopping at the supermarket down the street where the customer is always right. Nothing like a customer who believes expiration dates don't apply to them. I wouldn't even have the guts to return the cheese if it went bad the next day. The audacity of some people is ridiculous. Things don't last forever. And our last story. My mom's a lawyer. Karen's failed attempt to bully her neighbor. My husband and I moved into our dream home about a year ago. It's a spacious property with plenty of privacy, set comfortably apart from all neighbors except one, Karen and Kevin, who live directly behind us. Initially, we were thrilled. They were around our age, and we were hopeful to form a friendly neighborhood bond. Things seemed promising initially. Shortly after we settled in, my husband was outside tidying up when Karen and Kevin approached from the park side. With a stroller in tow, Karen casually mentioned how they frequently used our property as a shortcut. My husband politely expressed his discomfort with strangers crossing our yard and mentioned we'd be installing a fence soon. Karen immediately turned defensive. "You can't do that. My mom's an attorney, and she says we have an easement. You legally have to allow us access." When my husband relayed this to me, I felt uneasy. Later, when Karen and I spoke, she became overly curious, grilling me about my profession. When I revealed that I was an attorney myself, she quickly mentioned her mom was a law professor. I soon discovered her mother had been my own advisor back in law school. A bizarre coincidence. Despite the conversation ending politely, the tension was palpable. In the weeks that followed, passive aggression became Karen and Kevin's modus operandi. One night, while my husband and I were relaxing by our fire pit, the fire department arrived, responding to reports of a hazardous open flame. After repeated visits, I learned through public records requests that it was Karen making the calls. Feeling harassed, I confronted them indirectly, loudly mentioning that abusing emergency services was both illegal and unacceptable. Then there were the dogs. Our 3 pups occasionally bark, nothing excessive, but enough to trigger Karen's anger. On multiple occasions, she'd glare from her porch, visibly seething and yelling at Kevin, pointing angrily at our property. One evening, I caught them peeking into our yard, Karen gesticulating furiously. The invasive surveillance made me uncomfortable enough to set up security cameras for peace of mind. Things escalated further one evening. Karen stormed onto our property, confronting my husband. "Your dogs are a constant nuisance," she shouted. "Karen, they're dogs. They bark occasionally," my husband calmly responded, "and we're always prompt about managing them." "That's not good enough. You people have ruined our peace ever since you moved here," she retorted, nearly hysterical. Finally losing patience, I stepped outside. "Karen, if there's an issue, let's handle this maturely." But trespassing and screaming accusations won't solve anything. "We'll see what my mom says about that. Expect legal action," Karen snapped before storming back inside. True to her threat, we soon received an absurd legal notice. Karen was suing us, claiming she had a legal easement across our yard and that our barking dogs were causing emotional distress. Although irritated, I prepared calmly, knowing her claim was baseless. When the day in court came, Karen's overconfidence quickly turned into embarrassment. Her lawyer, clearly reluctant, stumbled through arguments about historical easements and barking as noise pollution. The judge, after reviewing the facts and documents we provided, quickly dismissed Karen's suit. "Miss Karen," the judge addressed her, clearly annoyed, "you cannot simply claim an easement because it's convenient. This is private property, and your claims hold no merit." Karen was ordered to pay our court fees and receive a stern warning about harassing us. This outcome left Karen visibly humiliated. To our relief, shortly afterward, we noticed a for sale sign go up on their property. Rumor had it Karen and Kevin decided it was time for a change, but we knew the real reason was the embarrassment from their failed attempt at bullying. Ah, yes, the classic Karen, confidently flexing her imaginary legal muscles, only to crash spectacularly in court. It's always satisfying seeing bullies humbled, especially when they attempt to weaponize family connections. Bonus points for the subtle flex of you being an attorney yourself. Bet you didn't expect that twist. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.